Good morning, children. So next one is the state list in the federal country. We are in that part, the state list. Right. So here you can see that India's federal type of government. It has what makes India a federal country. In that we have seen that in federalism there are two lists. So there are three lists actually: union list, state list, and the concurrent list. But here we are going to study in detail about the union list and the state list. So what are the subjects that are going to come in the union list and what are the subjects that are going to come in the state list? So union list we have already discussed it. It is the all the national importance subjects are going to come there. That is what the foreign affairs, banking, communications, and the currency, defense of the country. All the national importance subjects are going to come, and there is an uniform policy on all these matters. So there is no changes in these policies. There is a uniform policy in all these matters. The union government alone can make laws relating to the subjects mentioned in the union list. So who is going to make the laws? It is the union government which is going to make the laws in all these subjects. So next is the state list. State list, what it contains the subjects of the state and local importance such as the police, trade, commerce, agriculture, and the irrigation. So what is the state list? State list, what it contains? It contains the subjects of the states and the local importance such as the police, trade, commerce, agriculture, as well as the irrigation. The state government includes what here? The subjects. The state governments include the subjects like the forest trade unions, marriage, adoption, and succession. So these are the subjects. It includes about the forest, it includes about the trade unions, it includes about the marriage, it includes about the adoption and the succession. Both the union as well as the state governments can make laws on the subjects mentioned in this list. So who is going to make the laws? It is both the union as well as the state governments can make the laws on the subjects mentioned in the list. If their laws conflict with each other, the law made by the union government will prevail. So if there is any conflict with each other, what happens? The law made by the union government is going to prevail. So any if there is a fight between these subjects, if there is any disputes between these subjects, state subjects such as what? Police, trade, commerce, agriculture, irrigation, then what happens? The state governments, forest, trade unions, marriage, adoption, and succession. So these are the things. These are around 10 subjects which are coming both as in the union as well as in the state. So government can make laws on the subjects mentioned in the list. So what happens? Who is making the laws? The government can make the laws in the forest, in the trade unions, in the marriage. Now the Modi government is ready to increase the age limit of the marriages. It was in the olden days, it was 18 years of age. Now he is going to increase. Right, he wants to make 21 years as the age limit for the girls in order to get married because of the problems she is facing. So after 18 years of age, she is going to have some lot of problems when she becomes pregnant and all. There are a lot of problems the women are facing. So for that, he wants to increase the age limit. So 21 years will be made compulsory for the girls now. So like this all, right? So in order to do, why is doing Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, adoption and succession also very important. Adoption, right? When you are going to adopt a baby, so what are the rules you have to follow? Succession, when you are going to decide someone as your successor, what are the rules and regulations you have to follow? Both the union as well as the state governments can make laws on the subjects mentioned in this list. So who are going to make the laws? it is both the state governments and the central governments together they are going to make the laws mentioned in this list. If their conflict if the laws conflict with each other, the law made by the union government will prevail. So what happens if there is any conflict between the each other's laws, then what will happen? Who will make the which government will prevail? Union government. The laws made by the union government will prevail. What about subjects that do not fall in any of the three lists? So what about those subjects which are not going to fall in any of the three lists? Or subjects like computer software that came up after the constitution was made. So computer software which had come after the, what you can say, after the constitution was made, there was a computer software. According to our constitution, the union government has the power to legislate on these residuary subjects also. So whatever the subjects which come after this law, that they are going to called as the, they have been called as the residuary subject. Residuary subjects means remaining subjects, ರೈಟ್. ಎಲ್ಲ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದಂಥ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗಳು ರಿಮೈಂಡರ್, ನೀವು ಡಿವಿಷನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ರಿಮೈಂಡರ್. ಸೊ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ರಿಮೈಂಡರ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್, ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ residuary subjects. We noted above that most federations that are formed by holding together do not give up equal power to its constituent units. So what happened? The most of the federations that are having the holding together, they do not give equal power to its constituent units. So holding power federations ನಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆನೇ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾವ. ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ದ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಪವರ್ಸ್ ಟು ದ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್, equal powers to its constitutional units also. ಸೊ ಸಣ್ಣ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಪವರ್ಸ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕೊಡಂಗಿಲ್ರಿ. that is happening where in the coming together federations they have equal powers, where the central government as well as the state government has equal powers, but that is not there in the holding together federations. All the powers are kept in the hands of whom? In the hands of the union government. Some powers are given to the state governments or the subordinate units, or you can say here constituent units, right? Thus all the states in India do not have identical powers. Yes, all the states in India are not having the identical powers, are not having the same powers. The powers are different for the different persons, for the different people. They are not having the same power. Some states enjoy a special status. States such as Assam, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram enjoy special powers under certain provisions of the Constitution of India, Article 371, due to their peculiar social and historical circumstances. So what happens here? States like Assam, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram, they are enjoying the special powers under the certain provisions of the Constitution of India. So where they are going to have the special powers, and they also enjoy certain provisions as per our Constitution, Article 371. Why? Because there is a peculiar social and historical circumstances. They are mostly the tribal people who are living in Assam, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram. They are not going to hurt any one of them, and their culture is different from those of the others. They are living a very simple life, tribal life, and they don't harm others. They have their own boundaries, they have their own circumstances, they have their own social customs which they perform, which they do. So there is some special provisions are given, and they are all hilly areas. There the laws should be different, because the roads are not as easy as you have now here. There is a lot of difficulty, geographical difficulty we are seeing. Climatic conditions are worse. They get the huge rainfall, they get huge, what you can say, landslides are happening again and then. So they enjoy some special status. Right, these special powers are especially enjoyed in relations to protection of land, rights of indigenous people, their culture, and also preferential employment in government services. So, what happens? These special powers. So, what are the special powers they are enjoying? Let us see. The first one is in relation to the protection of the land. They are given the protection of the land, right? They are given what? Rights of indigenous peoples. So whatever the tribal people are there, they are indigenous, they are the unique people, so their rights should be what you can say secured, their culture, and also preferential employment in the government services. So their culture also we are going to preserve it, we are not harming their culture, and they are getting special preference in the employment in government services. Indians who are not permanent residents of the states cannot buy land or house here. So Indians who are not the permanent residents, who are the NRIs, cannot buy the land here or a house here. Similarly, special provisions exist for some other states of India as well. So there are some other provisions are also there existing for some other states of India as well. Let us see, there are some units of the Indian Union which enjoy very little power. So there are some units, they are considered as the Indian unions, they enjoy very little power. These are areas which are too small to become an independent. So what are these areas? These areas are very small and they enjoy very less things and they become an independent state, but which could not be merged with any of the existing states. They become the independent states, these areas which are too small to become an independent state. So they are not independent state, but which could not be merged with any of the existing states also. They cannot be merged with the existing states also. They are very small states and they cannot be merged with the existing states. These are the problems. These areas like Chandigarh or Lakshadweep or the capital city of Delhi are called the union territories. So what we are calling them as the union territories. These areas like Chandigarh or Lakshadweep or the capital city of Delhi, these are called what? Union territories. These territories do not have the powers of the state. The central government has special powers in running these areas. So what happens here? Here they don't have the special powers. They don't have the powers of the state. Here who is running them? It is the central government who is running these states. This sharing of power between the union government and the state government is the basic to the structure of the constitution. So the sharing of power between the union government and the state government, what it is the basic structure or it is the basic thing for what? For the constitution. Power na divide ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ constitution ಮೇಲೆ basis ಮೇಲೆ powers na divide ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ what will happen? The administration of the state and the central government, the administration of the country becomes easy. ಒಬ್ಬರ ಕಡೆನ ಎಲ್ಲ powers ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ರು ಏನಂತ ನೋಡ್ತಾರಿ? ಈಗ CM Yadurappa is unable to see all the districts in Karnataka. It becomes very difficult for him when it is divided. So he has two DCMs, right? Lakshman Saudi is there, Karjol sir is there. They are all helping him in order to administer the Karnataka state. So like this the things are happening. It is very difficult to run the country, to administer the country. For that there should be sharing of the powers. It is not easy to make changes to this power sharing arrangement. So it becomes very difficult to do the power sharing arrangement. The parliament cannot on its own change this arrangement. The parliament alone cannot make the changes, right? It has to take the time. Any change to it has to be first passed by both the houses of the parliament with at least 2/3 majority. So any change, it has to be what? first passed by whom? By the both the houses of the parliament. Any changes you are going to make, it should be passed by whom? By both the houses of the parliament. What happened with the 2/3 majority? With the 2/3 majority, you have to pass the bill. Means what happens? 2/3 means almost all should agree to the whatever you are saying, that everyone must agree. That is going to be called as the 2/3 of the majority. It has to be ratified by the legislatures of at least half of the total states. Then it has to be ratified. Then it has to be verified by whom? By the legislatures. They should say yes, at least half of the total states must tell that yes, we are going to follow it. The judiciary plays an important role in overseeing the implementation of the constitutional provisions and the procedures. So who is playing an important role? Here the judicial department is playing an important role in the implementation of all the constitutional provisions and the procedures. So what constitutional provisions and procedures, what they are making, that is going without any dispute, without anything. So the division of powers, is it correct or not? All the procedures are correct or not? That is seen by whom? By the judiciary department. In case of any dispute about the division of powers, the high courts and the Supreme Court make a decision. So in case of any dispute between the division of powers, the high courts and the Supreme Courts make a decision. So if there is any dispute happening regarding the division of power, who is going to see it? The high courts and the Supreme Courts are making a decision. The union and state governments have the power to raise resources by levying taxes in order to carry on the government and the responsibilities assigned each of them. So the union government and the state governments have the power to what? To raise the resources. They are raising the resources by levying the taxes, by raising the taxes in order to carry on the government and the responsibilities assigned to each of them. So here Pokhran, the place where the India conducted its nuclear tests, like in Rajasthan. Suppose the government of Rajasthan was opposed to the central government's nuclear policy, could it prevent the government of India from conducting the nuclear tests? Suppose the government of the Sikkim plans to introduce new textbook in its schools, but the Indian government does not like the style and content of the new textbook. In that case, does the state government need to take the permission from the union government before these textbooks can be launched? Suppose the chief ministers of Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Orissa have different policies on how their state should respond to the Naxalites. Can the Prime Minister of India intervene and pass an order that all chief ministers will have to obey? So how is the federalism practiced in India? So these are the questions in the minds of the people. So how actually the federalism has been practiced in India? Let us see. Constitutional provisions are necessary for the success of federalism, but these are not sufficient. If the federal experiment has succeeded in India, it is not merely because of the clearly laid our constitutional provisions. The real success of federalism in India can be attributed to the nature of democratic politics in our country. This ensured that the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity, desire for living together became shared ideas in our own country. So what happened here? This ensured what? The spirit of federalism. We saw the spirit of federalism. In that, what is there? There should be respect for the diversity, respect for the different groups, and desire for what? For living together. Because of these shared ideals in our country, what we are seeing, that there is a democracy in our country. Because of democracy, what has become? Federalism has become successful in our country. I already told you in the chapter of the power sharing. What is there in our India? Even though we speak different languages, even though we practice different religions, different castes, different creeds, different sects are available in our India, but what we see here, we all live together. We respect each and other's religions. We respect each other's cultures, we respect each other's what they are, share their ideals, we are respecting in our country. Linguistic states. The creation of linguistic states was the first and major test for democratic politics in our country. If you look at the political map of India, when it began journey as a democracy in 1947 and that of 2019, you will be surprised by the extent of the changes. So you will be surprised by the changes that are happening in the democracy. Right, many old states have vanished and many new states have been created. You are seeing that many of the old states have vanished, and what you are seeing, many of the new states have been created. Areas, boundaries and names of the states have been changed. So what has been changed now? Areas, boundaries and the names of the states have been changed. In 1947, the boundaries of several old states of India were changed in order to create the new states. So in 1947, the boundaries of several of the old states of India have been changed to create the new states. So now you can see that lot of new states have been emerging in India. This was done to ensure that people who spoke the same language lived in the same state. Some states were created not on the basis of language but to recognize differences based on culture, ethnicity or geography. So here in India we have done lot of the changes in India. We have created the new borders. We have created the new states. Why? Because in order that the people who speak the same language live in the same state. And another one is people who are based on the culture, based on the ethnicity, based on the geography, we are making them to see in the one place. Right, there are some geographical problems. There were some ethnic composition like Telangana. It got separated because it was not getting recognition when it was with the Andhra Pradesh. But when it got separated as Telangana, it is able to recognize itself in our country. So like these things are helping. These include states like Nagaland, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand. When the demand for the formation of states on the basis of languages was raised, some national leaders feared that it would lead to disintegration of the country. So when there was a demand after independence, when the India was divided into different states, that time some leaders were afraid that by dividing the India into different states, it should not create the problems. Right, some important leaders in those days, they were afraid by the disintegration of our country. For example, our Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, right, they were all afraid about the disintegration of the states. So that time the central government resisted linguistic states for some time. So that the central government said that we have to not to divide, restricted, it stopped the division of the states on the basis of the languages. But the experience has shown that formation of linguistic states has actually made the country more united. It has also made administration easier. But after that, what they came to know that if we divide the states on the basis of the languages, then what we can see that the administration is going on correctly, regularly, properly, and the whole of the India gets united. After that, we saw that lot of conflicts between the people was not there. Lot of the troubles between the people were not there. They all started living closely together. They all became united. Next one is the language policy. A second test for Indian Federation is the language policy. The second test or the second thing for the Indian Federation is about the language policy. Our constitution did not give the status of national language to any one language. So here there is no any national language in our country, right? Because it has not given the status of any national language to any one language. Hindi was identified as the official language. Hindi was made just as the official language, but it was not declared as a national language. But Hindi is the mother tongue of only about 40% of the Indians. So Indians, 40% of the Indians, they are speaking Hindi. And therefore there were many safeguards to protect other languages. So they made safeguards to protect the other languages also. Besides Hindi, there are 21 other languages recognized as scheduled languages by the constitution. So besides Hindi, our constitution is considering or recognizing how many languages? 21 languages. Right, a candidate in an examination conducted for central government positions may opt to take the examination in any of these languages. State too have their own official languages. Much of the government work takes place on the official language of the concerned states. So here you can see that our constitution has made 21 recognized languages, and the children can write the exams, the students can write the exams, central government exams, by taking any of the 21 languages. They can write their exams, government exams, positions, government positions, whatever you want. That time when you are writing the central government exams, that time you can go for the 21 languages. In that you can choose any one language, you can write the exam. And states too also had made the official languages. So in the state, for example, in Karnataka, Kannada is the official language. In Andhra Pradesh, Telugu is the official language. In Tamil Nadu, Tamil is the official languages. Like that, in the state, in every state, it has made their own regional language as the official language. Unlike Sri Lanka, the leaders of our country adopted a very cautious attitude in spreading the use of Hindi. So unlike Sri Lanka, we saw that lot of leaders were cautious about the spreading the use of the Hindi. According to the constitution, the use of the English for official purposes was to stop in 1965. So according to the constitution, what it has said that in the English use for official purposes should be stopped by 1965, and there should be encouragement for the Hindi speaking, Hindi writing. But this has not happened in India. In Tamil Nadu, this movement took a violent form. The central government responded by agreeing to continue the use of English along with Hindi for the official purposes. So according to our constitution, it has stated that we have to stop the use of the Tamil English language in the official documents. But what happened? Because of the Tamil Nadu, they created a violence. There was a lot of protest from the South India. So what it did, the central government agreed to their demands and decided that they will include English along with the Hindi for official purposes. Many critics think that this solution favored the English speaking elite. Yes, this practice has favored the English speaking elite, and the English continues to be the official policy of the government of India. Promotion does not mean that central government can impose Hindi on states where people speak a different language. So promotion of Hindi does not means here that it has to impose the Hindi on the different states where they are speaking the different languages. The flexibility shown by Indian political leaders helped our country avoid the kind of situation that Sri Lanka find itself in. So in Sri Lanka you are seeing there is a Tamil speaking people, Sinhala speaking people. Because of that there were a long language conflict between the Sri Lanka, and we saw there started a civil war. Because of the civil war, what happened? Thousands of people were got killed. There was lot of violence because of the language problem. So we are not finding in India, we are not having in India such problems. These problems were solved by whom? By our country, right? The center state relations. How is the relation between the center and the state? Let us see now. Restructuring the center state relations is one more way in which the federalism has been strengthened in practice. Restructuring. So we always go for restructuring the relationship between the center and the state. Let us see how the constitutional arrangements for sharing power work in reality depends to a large extent on how the ruling parties and leaders follow these arrangements. So this is very important, how the constitutional arrangements for sharing power work in reality depends. In reality, how does it depend? How is the leaders following these arrangements? For a long time, the same party ruled both at the center and in most of the states. So what happened? For a long time, the same party was ruling both at the center as well as in the more of the states also. The same party was ruling. It is a Congress party. Everyone knows it. It was ruling in the center also. It was ruling in the states also. This meant that the state governments did not exercise their rights as autonomous federal units. So here the state government was unable to exercise its rights as an autonomous body, as a single body. It was not able to exercise its rights as the federal units. As and when the ruling party at the state level was different, the parties that ruled the center tried to undermine the power of the states. So what happened? When the central government was different from the state government, what they started? They started imposing their powers. They started showing their powers to the state government. ಈಗೇನೈತ್ರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಾಗೂ BJP ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಐತಿ, ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ನಾಗೂ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಐತಿ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಅದೇ ಎಲ್ಲೇ ಪಂಜಾಬ್ನಾಗ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಐತಿ, ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ನಾಗ ಪಂಜಾಬ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ನಾಗ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಐತಿ, ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ನಾಗ BJP ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಐತಿ. ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ APMC ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದು ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ, APMC ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟನ್ನು ಚಾಲೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾಗೈತೆ ರೀ? ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ನಿಂಗ್. ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕತ್ತಾರ. ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ಆರ್ ಗ್ರೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಪಂಜಾಬ್ ಮತ್ತು ಹರಿಯಾಣ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ? ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಕೇಳಬರಾತೈತಿ. ಆಲ್ ಓವರ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ದ ಅಪೋಸಿಷನ್, but only from the Punjab and Haryana we are seeing that there is a big number of protesters. So farmers are protesting against the government because there is a Congress government. So like this, all these things are happening. Their people will not get the proper facilities. They don't enjoy the proper facilities that the central government gives to the state government, because there will be conflict, there will be fight, always fight between the center and the state. The central, in those days, the central government would often misuse the constitution to dismiss the state governments that were controlled by the rival parties. This undermined the spirit of federalism. So what happened? Often we saw the misuse of the constitution to dismiss the state governments. We saw that often there is a misuse of the constitution in order to when they dismiss the state governments, that they were controlled by the rival parties. They were controlled by whom? By their enemies. So what we see, there is a dismissal of the state governments. So who were controlling? By the rival parties. Suppose here there is a Congress government and in the central government there is a BJP. Then BJP is trying to get back here in the BJP government again in Karnataka. So all these things they are doing. Confederations will be done. They will be forcing the leaders to join the BJP party and come to be. All these things are going on. So the rival party, this will be helping them in order to form the government. This undermines what? The spirit of the federalism. All this changed significantly after 1990. So after 1990, what we saw there were the significant changes. This period saw the rise of the regional political parties in many states of the country. So what happened in many states of the country? What we saw, there was a rise of the regional parties. Regional parties means ಆ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಂದನ ಏನಾಗಕತ್ತು ರೀ ಪಾರ್ಟೀಸ್ಗಳು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕತ್ತು. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದ JDS, right? Janta Dala, it is of our Karnataka only. Local leaders are there, local regional people are there. Like this the parties got started. This also was the beginning of the era of coalition governments at the center. So what happened? We saw there was a coalition government in the center. When the no party can get the majority seats, that time what they will do? They will go for the coalition government. That we started seeing in the central government. Since no single party got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha, the major national parties had to enter into an alliance with many parties, including several regional parties, to form a government at the center. So when they did not get a clear majority, so that time what happened? Several regional parties, they form a government at the center. This led to a new culture of power sharing and respect for the autonomy of state government. So what happens? This led to a new culture of power sharing. So what happened here? There was a new culture of power sharing and respect for the autonomy of the state governments. So autonomy means there is a single government. State governments got the autonomy, they got the respect from the, now the state governments also got the respect, they were also sharing the powers. This trend, here you can say the states plead for more powers of the states. Here Madam Indira Gandhi, she is giving the powers. Here you can see all the state government leaders, they are standing with the one bowl and they are asking what give us the powers. Perils of ruining a coalition government. Here you can see the coalition government where so many people faces are there. Here are the two cartoons showing the relationship between the central and the states. Should be state go to the center with a begging bowl. How can the leader of a coalition keep the partners of government satisfied? So when there is a coalition government, how can he keep the other party leaders satisfied? It is not an easy job, it is going to become a difficult job. Supported by major judgment of the Supreme Court that made it difficult for the central government to dismiss the state government's arbitrary manner. Thus federal power sharing is more effective today than it was early years after the constitution came into force. So after the constitution came into force, what happened? There is, if there is any arbitrary means if there is any matter sent to the court to solve the disputes, then that will be solved where? In the court only, not here, not in anywhere. It should be solved in the court. Any judicial matters, the central government has no right to interfere. For example, the construction of the Ram Mandir, so the decision was given by the Supreme Court of India only. Like this the things are happening. Now the powers are not in the hands of the in the parties, but there are some powers. Now the High Court has the power. Now the Constitution is the supreme power. It has all the rules and the regulations what are there. We have to follow it of the Supreme Court, not of the any party or the any what you can say of anyone. Now the powers are completely with the Constitution. Now the Constitution has become a powerful weapon in the country. If the state government is not satisfied with the central government orders, it can question it in the Supreme Court. And now we can see in this cartoon, if there is a complete power in the central government, then what happens? Here they are coming, all the state governments are coming with the bowl and they are asking that give us the power. So like this begging process will start. So that should not happen in a democracy, because this is not the what you can say, this is not our culture. This should not become our culture. For everything we should not go and stand for the high command to give the permission, to give the orders. For everything we cannot go. For each and every decision, if Yadurappa starts going to the central government asking what to do, what not to do, then what is the use of Yadurappa ji becoming the CM, Chief Minister of Karnataka? So like this it should not happen. Some independence should be given, some power should be given in the hands of the Chief Minister, so that whatever he wants to take the decision in his cabinet, in his state, he should be allowed to take it. Here, linguistic diversity of India. How many languages do you have in India? Not this one. Read the following experts what from an article by noted historian Ramchandra Guha that appeared in the Times of India, November 2006. The report of the State Reorganization Commission SRC was implemented exactly 50 years ago, November 1st, 1956. This in its own time and own way has also transformed the political and institutional life of the nation. Gandhi and other leaders promised their followers that when freedom came, the new nation would be based on a new set of provinces, these based on the principle of language. However, India was finally freed in 1947. It was also divided. Here some what you can see, the report of the State Organization Commission SRC, when it gave its report November 1st, 1956, it said that after the freed India 1946, India was also divided. How it was divided? On the basis of the languages. How were the provinces divided? On the basis of the languages it was divided. Partition was the consequences of the primordial attachment to one's faith. How many partitions would that other primordial loyalty language lead to? So ran the thinking of Nehru, Patel and Rajaji. See here, partition, it is an attachment to one's faith. But how this partition is going to work in our country? Where the people be loyal, language and all, they are the Patel, Nehru, Rajaji were thinking. Rajendra Prasad, Babu Rajendra Prasad, they were all thinking about this. Far from undermining Indian unity, linguistic states have helped strengthen it. It has proved to be perfectly consistent to be Kannadiga and Indian, Bengali and Indian, Tamil and Indian, Gujarati and Indian. To be sure, these states based on languages sometimes quarrel with one another. Yes, far from undermining Indian unity. So what happens here? When they are divided on the basis of the languages, what happens? We see that Kannada is also Indian, Bengali is also Indian, Tamilian is also Indian, Gujarati is also Indian, irrespective of their languages. But the last truth is that they all are Indians. While these disputes are not pretty, they could in fact have been worse. It is the formation of linguistic states that has allowed India to escape what might have been a worse fate. Still, if the sentiments of the native speakers of Telugu, Marathi, etc. had been disregarded, what we might have here was one language, 14 or 15 nations. So what happened? If the India was not divided on the basis of the languages, then we would have seen India divided into 14 or 15 nations. Because India is divided into all these different states, what 28 states or 29 states, what we have seen, there is a unity in the India. Even though people are speaking different languages, but still there is a unity of India. Okay, thank you.